Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video I continue to build the Aston Martin DB5 from the movie Goldfinger. Now I am on stage 77. This is a long video. I do a lot of steps in this particular stage, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get started.
James Bond.
Welcome back. Let's look at the instructions for stage 77. And if you haven't done so already, head over to Eagle Moss and subscribe to this car today. It's a beautiful car and you will not regret it. It's a little bit of a challenge to build, but it's a lot of fun. So for stage 77, we're going to do a lot here. We finally received the front nose clip, the whole front nose piece for this car, and we're going to start assembling parts onto it. And we're going to need all these parts that are listed here on the left: our headlight assemblies, our mirrors, the front nose emblem, those bars, the hood supports, and the antenna, looks like. Let's get a closer look here. So you can see we received the front nose clip here with this issue. We're going to need the headlights, the antenna, the support rods for the hood, the side slot assemblies, the rails as they call them, the mirrors, and the hood emblem. And we assemble first the support rods for the hood, the rails that go on the side, and then next we install the mirrors, headlights, emblem, and lastly the antenna. Let me get the parts out. I'll be right back. Contained within shipment number 20 was this very large box, and this is actually stage 77. It's located inside here, and this would be that front nose clip. I'm going to go ahead and take it out and I'll be right back. And here's what's inside that box. Well wrapped front nose clip, well protected. Stage 77, of course. Looks like that's the only thing inside, but we'll make sure we don't leave anything behind like screws. I don't believe any screws came with this. So let me take everything out and I'll be right back. And here's what it looks like after I took it all out of the plastic. And I was wrong. There were 2 bags of screws in there, so you should have received 2 bags. Now, I had to go to my screw chart that you can download in my Facebook group. I put a link in the description below. But according to that chart, we received a bag of A screws and a bag of C screws. Now the A screws are 2.6 millimeter, and they're just a little bit wider, and the C screws are 2.3 millimeter, and we'll come back to that later and I'll give you a close-up and show you what I mean by that. So once again, well protected here, and I'm going to take off the foam protecting the front nose and I'll be right back. And here's a close-up of that front nose clip. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm just floored by this. Look at that. Very nice. Very nice finish. I haven't dusted it off or anything, but you can see we have the working marker lights with the machine guns. Very cool. I'll show you something on the back side that I noticed with this. But both sides do it. Very nice. That's how that looks from that angle. And from the top. Just beautiful. We turn this over. Now what I noticed, I'll get a close look here. I'll show you on the other side here. We'll get a closer look at those turn signals. Now those turn signals move in and out. There's a piece of fishing line on here too. Okay, we'll find out what that's about a little bit later. Of course, the finish on it is immaculate. Very nice. Let's look at those screws. Here's those screws. So this is the A screw and this is the C screw. Looking at them in the bag, it's really hard to distinguish, so you need to remove at least one of each and look at them. So the A screw is 2.6 millimeter, and you can see it's just a little bit wider thread here, and then the 2.3 millimeter is the C screw right there. And like I was saying, you can go to my Facebook group and download the screw chart there, and also in issue 22 that same screw chart is right there. So if you wanted to subscribe to this build and save all your parts, make sure you check them, check every box that comes in, check all your parts, make sure you got everything, and wait till the very end, so that way you have that last magazine to help you build the rest of this, if that makes any sense to you. So I'm not saying you have to do it that way, but it's a good idea to get everything in and then start building. And I think a lot of people have done that, and people have told me that, and I didn't understand why, and that's because it has you jump around a little bit in building this thing. But still, you get a nice product at the end, a beautiful car. Alright, let's get started. So the first two steps, we're going to assemble the license plate into the front bumper. Now, before we do that, you're going to need some screws to do that with. You're going to need some L-type screws, so I've been saving all my screws all along, and my L screws are over here. We're going to need a couple of those to do this. Now, we also need to identify what's the top of the bumper compared to the bottom of the bumper. The bottom of the bumper has these cutouts here, whereas the top does not. Now, if you're not really sure what side is what, also remember that your little bumpers that come out, the top kind of looks like that, has that kind of a weird shape to it, indented. But what you could also do is you can grab your front nose clip, okay, and you can bring it over, and you can just test fit the bumper on there. And if it fits flush like it should, then you know that's the top, which this does. Okay, so that's what we have going on there. Alright. And the other thing is, when we put our license plate in, we don't want to put it in upside down, we want to put it in right side up. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to put that in first, into the slot, just like that, and then we're going to put the back cover on. The back cover doesn't really matter which way it goes. It's going to go right down on that, and we're going to put two L-type screws into this. And here's the L-type screw. It has larger threads on it because obviously it's going into plastic. So we'll just insert that in. And one more on the other side. And that's nice and tight. And that's the bottom, and that's the top, and that will allow us to turn the license plate as necessary. Very cool. Alright, let's go on to the next step. We'll push that aside and bring over the front nose clip. And I don't want to scratch this up, so I'm going to put a washcloth down like I've always done. And we need to flip this over because we're going to put on the support rods for the hood. And there's our support rods. We're going to need 2 of the C-type screws for this. And I believe we're just going to line it up just like that for 1, and just like that for 2. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and lubricate those holes. I'm going to take that out and lubricate that hole and the other hole. And what's cool about these is they kind of get swedged in there. Push down on it. Perfect. Put my first C-type screw in. And that's tight. Do the other side. Perfect. It's almost like you don't need the screw to hold it in, but so the other C goes into that. And that looks good. Both rods are in. We'll look at what they look like on the other side. There we go, and they're going to hold the hood up. So that looks great. Next we're going to put these chrome rails in. And they definitely will line up. You have a long side and a short side for the rail itself. We want to go ahead and make sure that when we put these in, that we put the, you can kind of see that, these marks right here from the ejector pin marks, we want to have those going down below on the bottom so you really can't see them. So I don't want to put that way because they're going to show, and it's smooth on the other side. Okay. So I'm going to take the other one and make sure my ejector pin marks are on the bottom, which they are, and we're just going to slide that in place. Should just snap right in. There you go. That looks good there. I'll turn this around and we'll do the other side. Smooth on top and slide that in. Perfect. And I may put some super glue on the back side so that way they stay in place. Okay. Now let's go to the next step. I found the other mirror. It was issued with stage 6 and it was located with our roof section, and so there's the mirror right there. We're going to go ahead and install those next. The other mirror came with stage 73. I had to dig out 2 P-type screws for this, so I'm going to go ahead and put that aside and put this back down because we've got to turn it over when we install our mirrors. Be very careful that we don't break this off. So from now on the handling of this is going to be very careful and cautious with it. So you can kind of see the angle there. So they're not the same, they're not angled the same. Kind of angles downward. Okay. So what side is what? I believe this is the outside, so this will be the left, and this one will be the right. Okay. So I'm going to turn this over. Okay. This is the left and this is the right. Okay. So I'm going to take the left one and move it aside, and I'm just going to work on the right. Yep, and that looks like that fits pretty good on that actually. Okay. And I'll tighten that down. Very carefully. And it's just snug like that. Don't want to over tighten it. Maybe just a little more. That looks good. And because we're going to start assembling this, we're not going to have access to these, I don't believe, to be able to put them in later. So that's why I'm putting them in now. Okay, so we'll do the other side. So just pay attention to what side goes in first. So the left side came with 73 and the right side came with issue 6. 73 on the left, right issue 6. Just going to get it started carefully. Okay. Bringing it around so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to slowly tighten it down. And that's secure. And that's secure. So, both mirrors are on and they're tight. We just got to be very careful with this now if we turn it over for any reason. Next I'm going to go ahead and install the headlights onto the front nose clip. Now remember, I received the left headlight in stage 74 and I put it in a bag for safekeeping, so I do know that this goes on the left side. This is the left side of the nose, so we're going to put that over there. And we received the other headlight in stage 75 and it goes on the right. We're going to be using 4 U-type screws, and these are chrome screws, very nice. They have a flat shank on the end of them to help hold everything together. First thing I have to do is feed the wire through the headlight bezel assembly, and that's easy to do here. Just feed that through. And just going to pull that through gently and fit it in to the notches, and that looks great. Turn this over gently. I'm going to have to hold it while I put in the U-screws. And you can probably see that a little bit. I'm just going to get them started. I just don't want to put any weight on those mirrors. So I'm going to be very careful with this. We put it up on the nose. Make it so you can see it. And 2 of these screws go in. That's good there. And I'll do the other side. I'll go ahead and feed this in like I did before. And another thing you can do to help it along, to make sure it fits in there flush, is we're going to lubricate these alignment pins that stick out. I'm not going to put any grease on the hole, but I'm just on the outside to help them slide in a little bit better. This one has a little bit of a tight fit, and it's just going to help it along. Go ahead and get the screw started here. The bottom one first. One more. I'm just trying to be careful. And let me see how it lines up. And that is drawn in really good. Okay, good. So the grease helped out a little bit with that. The Vaseline helped out immensely with that. Alright, so I'm going to do some things to neaten this up a little bit with all the wiring and stuff. And it's just going to be temporary. But I'm going to take some tape, some painter's tape, and secure this rod with the tape. Just temporary. Same with this side. That's good there. And now I'm going to flip it over and be very careful. I'm going to set it on those mirrors, but be very careful with it. And I'm going to coil these up just to get them out of the way. And tape them. There's one. Do the other side. And that should just keep them out of the way while we work on this. Alright, so that looks good there. Two more steps, and they're easy ones. Turn this around a little bit. And we're just going to put the antenna in first. This is the antenna right here. Simply just goes down just like that. It's a retractable antenna. Pretty cool. And lastly, the emblem. Here's the emblem. And I think you've already seen that in a previous issue, what it looks like. But here it is. And that's going to go in the front nose clip. Just like that. I'm probably going to take some super glue and super glue some of these items just to reinforce them. I'm going to super glue the emblem, the antenna, and these items here on the back side. I went ahead and taped these down too so they don't get bent all out of whack and break. Alright, and that's all we do for stage 77. A lot built here. This is a beautiful nose clip. I've enjoyed assembling all the parts on here. We got to be very careful with these mirrors on top and the antenna. But anyways, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for all notifications. Head over to eaglemoss.com and subscribe to this car today. It's fantastic. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.